Hi everyone, Sajid Amit here, and welcome to my review of the Penon FAN 2. So the Penon Audio has been flying under the radar as far as I'm concerned for a bit of time now. And it's only recently that I noticed a lot of impressions and posts being dropped about different IEMs and cables that Penon Audio sells. They're based out of Hong Kong, if I'm not mistaken. So I reached out to them and I was like, hey, I was, curious about what you sell, and I see a bunch of IEMs at different price points and cables, and I just wanted to sort of see if I could get one of these IEMs in. So I was recommended the FAN 2, which is this beautifully constructed resin IEM. So this has two dynamic drivers and two BAs inside, one Knowles BA and one Sonyon BA. One of the BAs handles mid-range and the other handles treble, and the dynamic drivers are 6mm biologic dynamic drivers, which are pretty impressive. So I basically got these in without expecting much, and it's just been such a joy to listen to these IEMs, guys. I'm trying to take off this pin so I can just show off the resin shells, which just look beautiful. So they have an interesting shape, guys. This shape is a bit more protruding, a bit more intrusive than your average, which surprisingly does not bother me. I'm not someone who likes etymotic type of IEMs, but this is far less intrusive than those IEMs, and they fit pretty well. So this is what the IEMs look like. Like I said, they have two dynamic drivers and two BAs. And I've been playing a whole bunch of tracks with them. Like, I'll just show you what tracks I've been playing with them. So wait, I just want to show you my full list of tracks, which comes from the favorites. So yeah, all of today I've played Solomon Burke's Don't Give Up On Me, which is nice, and it just sounds the male vocals sound very natural on this. This does have a fair amount of lower mids, which I'll get into. I'll talk about frequent response in a bit. I've played IEM. IEM's vocals sound great. I've played Anathema's You're Not Alone. It's a wonderful track. It can be quite a beat and also has this melancholic mood going on. Joni Mitchell's California, which is a beautiful female vocals track. This is very haunting and very nicely done. So this plays female vocals and male vocals very well. I played a bunch of Tool, Lateralus, and Invincible. Very well done and renditioned by this IEM, Mr. Crowley from Ozzy Osbourne. I've played London by James Newton Howard, which is from the Blood Diamond soundtrack. Neil Young's Heart of Gold, etc., etc. A bunch of stuff, guys. And Florist. So basically, when playing Florist, it was pretty evident how interesting the soundstage representation is on this relatively humbly priced IEM. So it's priced at $290, but it does deliver technical chops. It's way more resolving than you'd expect at this price point. It's got a soundstage that is deep and layered, and the imaging is just standout on this. And the timbre is just amazing. So I just want to show you the frequency response of this IEM because I found that to be quite interesting. I'll just show you the frequency response on my tab. So this frequency response reminds me a lot of the Dita Perpetua. I just look at how linear it is up until 6K. It's very linear, and this is what to me sounds flat. This is more neutral sounding to me in a natural way than any iteration of the Harman target. The Harman target to me is an aberration of what neutral should sound like based on a pretty insignificant sample that is not even variegated, and the whole sampling process, the sampling methodology and technique of Harman is dubious at best. But people think it's science because it's a graph without questioning where the data for the graph comes from. That's the problem of not understanding science, but being all, sort of having all this bravado about science without properly understanding it. But anyway, so this is to me a lot more natural and neutral than the Harman target. The Harman target, for example, has this Mickey Mousey base slope, and then it has another Mickey Mousey sort of, protruding upper mid slope, because apparently that's what our brain expects to hear without any understanding of how much peanut gain does our brain expect to hear, and to what extent does it depend on our actual ear anatomy, and why do we claim that our brain expects to hear this? Have we done brain imaging? Has Harman done any brain imaging based studies? No, it's all perception based using surveys. Anyway, so this to me, I'll just spare you the rant. This to me is a lot more natural sounding than Harman because this bump is just so beautifully done that it aids and adds a lot of warmth to the tracks. So this is just beautifully done. It's very smooth, as you can see, and it doesn't have any bleed into the mid-range. And then you do have pin gain around 3 kilohertz basically, and then you have that extends up to the 4 kilohertz mark. So that does give it some, vocal clarity and sufficient vocal clarity. I think there's no muddiness whatsoever. And you see more energy around, 7 kilohertz, which is interesting because it does add a bit of incisiveness to notes, which does make cymbal crashes a little more interesting. And I think overall it just makes percussion more interesting because percussion needs this part of the frequency response as well as this part of the frequency response to sound complete, to sound not just thumpy, but also sharp. And so then you also have a bit more, energy after 10K even. So this is, welcome. It's not supremely present. So it's not the area sounding IEM, but it's fairly, present in the upper frequencies. So overall, it's an extremely sort of natural and warm sounding set. It reminds me of the Sony IER M9 and to some extent the Dita Perpetua. So these are extremely nicely done. Like the timbre is just really, really pleasant and natural. The frequency response, like I said, is just really well done. Sounds very neutral and natural. The dynamic drivers provide plenty of thump and impact. It's not the most dynamic IEM, but it's not going to leave you wanting for bass impact. So overall, the bass is pretty exciting. It's pretty interesting. It's well done. The mid-range is the star of the show, and it does sound exceedingly natural and just has the right amount of warmth and body to notes. And treble is present, but it's not ever going to get sibilant on you. Very high marks to Penon Audio for Fan 2 for its tonality. Technically, like I said, it punches way above its price point. I have another IEM here that's around the $240 mark. This is the Kiwi Ears Quintet, which has been praised a lot by some reviews. Like, this blows the quintet out of the water. Like, if the quintet sounds like a $240 IEM, this I would say sounds like a $700 IEM. It is way more resolving than what its price point would suggest, and this has been a continuous theme in other reviews that I've read and come across as well. And I strongly feel the same, that this does, in terms of resolution, punch way above its price point. So we talked about resolution, and soundstage is something I've talked about, but I just want to drive home the point that there's actual soundstage here because the presentation of tracks does happen in a certain sort of a way that's distant from you, and it does aid to the whole realism and holographic presentation of this IEM. Layering is phenomenal for this price point. Timbre is just amazing. So yeah, I mean, that's it, guys. It's a fantastic IEM. And in terms of the accessories it comes with, this is the outer box. It's this yellow paper sort of a box, and it comes in this very sturdy and a beautiful blue case, which opens up. It's zippered, and then you get these spare tips. You get this massive sized ear tip, as you can see, double flange tips as well. This cable pin to pin your cable down, and a bunch of other tips here. And this is sort of a nice cutout in which you can house your IEM and carry them along with you. So accessories wise, it's impressive for a $200 IEM, I think. There's a whole bunch of goodies here. The cable is made of nylon. It sounds excellent, and I have no qualms about this cable. It does sometimes coil, but it's not, extremely janky either. And I'm using these blue tips because they're a nice aesthetic match with these IEMs. So that's it, guys. Fantastic IEM, the Penon Fan 2. I strongly recommend this. These do punch way above their price point in every sense of technical and tonal performance, and I strongly recommend them. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for my next one. Bye-bye.